another edition of the Rockin' Rewind podcast. Here's your host, James Poovey and Ray Miranda.
Welcome to the inaugural edition of the Rockin' Rewind podcast. My name is James Poovey, alongside my co-host here, Mr. Ray Miranda. Ray, are you ready to talk a little rock and roll, my friend? Let's tell everybody what we're up to here with this whole thing.
Yes, I am, James, and we are talking about some older music, well, way older, stuff that you guys probably don't even know about. We're going to dig deep, but we'll start off with some newer, fairly newer stuff. And tonight we're gonna talk about Winger.
That's exactly right. Winger is one of those bands. I feel they're very underrated. They often get categorized. They get sloughed into the hair metal or the glam rock category. But these guys, Ray, are phenomenal musicians. The talent. I mean, Kip Winger. We'll talk about it, but this guy not only does rock and roll, he writes operas, he writes classical musical arrangements, all kinds of stuff.
Right on, man. These guys, they're based, Winger, super group. Basically, that's what they are. Very underrated, like you said, for the time period when they came out. And, I'll tell you, James, I've seen them. I saw them, I'll be honest, I only saw them one time. And that was when they opened up for the Scorpions, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, and then I think they were the very opening band, but they're fantastic. And that was Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, that was a big thing back then. So they were fantastic. They were. I mean, people loved them.
Yes, when you see them live, you will be a believer right away. Where was that at that you saw them here in Phoenix? You recall?
It actually wasn't in Phoenix. It was out in somewhere out in the I-10 freeway. It was like in halfway to Tucson at a place called Compton Terrace. One of the biggest concerts ever in Phoenix. There was like 50,000 people there or something like that. And it was funny because when it was done, it was like Woodstock, man. People were lying on the floor and stuff, But
it was a pretty big festival. Huh?
Yeah. It was like a festival, but they're fantastic. And I'll tell you a little about these guys, man. These you're talking basically, like I said, a super group. Okay, so the drummer, Rod Morgenstein, a fantastic jazz drummer, played with the Dixie Dregs.
Yes.
Now, if you know, James, you know about the Dixie Dregs?
I do. They're very Neil Morse, I believe, is also in the band.
Because I know you're a drummer, man.
Yes.
James is a drummer, everyone, just so you know.
Yes. Yeah, we haven't covered that yet, but we will as we go forward here. But Rod Morgenstein is one of those guys that I've picked up licks from a long time ago. He's actually a professor of percussion at the Berklee College of Music in Boston. So you can actually take his stuff online right now, which is on my bucket list to do that one day as well. So
okay, so yeah, the guy's a stud. I mean, think about it, guys. Winger, one of the best progressive. He was awarded the best progressive drummer from '86 to '90 by, I don't know, Drummer Magazine.
Modern Drummer Magazine.
Modern Drummer. Okay. And, all around best drummer from, by the same magazine, Also, he played with Jordan Redis from our favorites, Dream Theater.
Dream Theater. That's exactly right.
And, he's known for all his different styles of music. And he also played with Steve Morse, who was also in the Dixie Dregs. So Rod Morgenstein, man, the guy's a stud. So,
tons of talent.
Yes.
And you look at someone like Kip Winger, he not only plays keyboards, but he plays the bass, he sings. I mean, some of the notes he hits are just in the stratosphere. I think he has a 2 or possibly 3 octave range. And that, to have that as a male, is pretty phenomenal.
Yes, it is. And speaking of Kip Winger, he played with Alice Cooper, like you said. I don't know if you said that or not, but Alan Parsons which is
Yes.
a progressive guy, and he played with another, Jordan Rudess again, and like you said, classical album, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll give his the guy. I have actually heard that album, the classical stuff, and I studied that stuff in college and stuff, and it's really good. It's really good. And he plays everything. The guy plays everything. He plays he's a vocalist, bass, guitar, mandolin, piano, synthesizer. And then we'll move on real quickly to Red Beach.
Oh,
Now,
Red Beach,
yeah,
unbelievable
ahead,
musician. No, unbelievable guitar player.
Yeah.
The guy plays not only with Winger, he writes a lot of the music for the band, but he also plays with another band that will, I'm sure, cover as we go along, Whitesnake.
Right. Big player with Whitesnake. Okay, so I'll tell you real quick. He's played with Howard Jones, which is kind of one of those 80s alternative bands. Shaka Khan, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Bee Gees, Twisted Sister, Roger Daltrey. He has a band that he was working with, Sahara. Played with Dawkins. Now, I'll tell you, James, I actually went to see Dawkins when he played with them. And, he's like, I actually talked to the guy, and he's like, hey, man, come on backstage. I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. I'm married at the time and everything. I'm like, I can't do that. But anyway, not that we were going to get in trouble or anything, but I'm just saying.
Sure.
A super group he had that played with Doug Pinnick from King's X, who we will talk about next week.
Oh, we will definitely be talking about King's X.
We'll be talking about him next week. And he worked with Night Ranger and also with Whitesnake and bands like that. Go ahead.
And no, that's okay. As we're talking about the band here, I loaded up a little slideshow that we put together. This is a live look of something we want to see here very soon. Maybe everybody, no mask in the crowd, everybody gathered up, having a good time at a concert. This is what we're looking forward to here, Ray, sometime this year, hopefully, right?
Yes. Yep.
Being able to go out and enjoy live music like this, and a couple more shots of Winger here as we get ready to recap their debut album that came out in 1988, self-titled LP, and the first track off of it just comes right out of the gate swinging. Madeline is the title track.
All right, let's check it out.
Let's take a listen to it. Here we go.
Oh, I love that acoustic guitar, man. I love it. And you see it, the guy's so strong. Yeah.
Just comes right out of the gate, man. Tip screams out off the top, and then just get right into the groove right here with the first verse. Good stuff.
Yes, it is. Awesome.
And that's Paul Taylor there that you see in these early Winger videos. He's in and out of the band. I think it's really an availability thing with him as far as him, how much he's able to contribute or be involved with the band. I'm really not sure exactly what's going on with that. Maybe we'll get one of those guys on here one day to talk about it with us.
Well, let it run for a second here. Let it run for a second. Wait for the solo just because of the way he does it. It's like,
Yeah.
But Paul Taylor, he played with Sammy Hagar, Boston.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Boston. Eric Martin from Mr. Big.
Mr. Big is another band we'll definitely be covering. You talk about supergroup.
Aldo Nova.
Wow.
And he even played with Steve Perry and Tommy Shaw.
Well, now you know why Paul Taylor's not always available to play with Winger, right?
Yeah. But I think he's with him right now, man. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, as of late, it's been John Ralph, I think, doing the double duty on that rhythm guitar. Now we
to
get the Red
solo,
Beach
man.
and the
Listen to
solo here.
solo. Yeah.
We'll give you a chance to check this out. We'll be quiet for a minute.
Yeah. You guys are just so,
Fantastic solo. He mixes
yeah.
in the finger tapping, but not too much of it, and then just
not too much.
power chords the rest of the way out.
Now, one thing I want to tell you is, James, is John Roth. Because they have another guitarist in here. Is John Roth. Played with Black Oak, Arkansas, Starship, and the guy from Survivor,
Right,
Jimmy Jameson, and basically a killer rhythm guitarist.
Oh, unbelievable rhythm guitar.
Yeah. And but yeah, man, that song is fantastic, man.
Now, there's two different John Roths that actually play with Winger. One of them is Uli John Roth, I think that you were referring to, that has played with Starship and so forth. And then there's a younger John Roth that plays. And let me tell you, I've seen these guys, I want to say at least 3 times here in Phoenix, Arizona, since I moved out here just about 20 years ago. And he played with them both times. And this guy can play some blues as well, Ray. So very phenomenal. And how about that for a lead track right there for a debut album to get things started?
Wow, man, that's fantastic. I mean, I didn't know about. Dude, we need to double check that. Uli Roth.
Uli John Roth. Yes, he also played with Winger.
Because I was supposed to see him here in Phoenix years ago. And they canceled. They were supposed to play at Orpheum Theater, like a real. I don't know if you wouldn't know what the Orpheum Theater is, but
yes, I've heard of it.
It's real. It's real. I've seen a couple of classical things in there, and but yeah, man, I went to that, they canceled it. I'm like, oh man.
Wow,
I was all bummed out. But so we talked about Morgenstein, the jazz drummer.
Yes,
we talked about Kip Winger, of course. Now, we didn't talk about Kip Winger.
We haven't fully talked about Kip Winger.
Yes,
correct.
Yes. Now, Kip Winger played for Alice Cooper, obviously.
Yes.
Well, it may not be obviously. People don't know that.
A lot of people don't know that because it was a long time ago. Yeah,
exactly. Alan Parsons he played with. Jordan Rudess. Our buddy over there in Dream Theater.
Yes.
Hey, look, I'm sporting this shirt right now. Dream
I'm
Theater.
liking that. We'll definitely be covering some DT as we go.
Yes, we will. And he has his own classical album that everything he did on there is his. And I've heard it. I've heard some of it. He is. I've seen pictures and stuff where he did some stuff, I think in San Francisco, where he looks like a legit classical, what do you call those dudes that, conductor or whatever?
A conductor, exactly.
Yeah.
No, and I think he won a Grammy as well for his classical music writing. So
we're talking about some heavy duty guys. Okay, Red Beach. No, did we talk? Yeah, we talked about Red Beach.
We talked just a little bit about Reb Beach, but Reb is one of those guys that, man, he can play. He plays with everybody, not just Winger and Whitesnake, but he's a session guy as well. He does all kind of stuff. Kip Winger living in Nashville, Tennessee for about the last 20 years or so. I actually played with a gentleman named Charlie Wayne Morrill, who was one of the original guitar players for the Bullet Boys, and him and Kip are friends. And Kip was kind of talked into moving out to Nashville. A lot of rock musicians are out there now. Megadeth's, a couple of guys from Megadeth live out there. Dave Mustaine was living out there for a while. I ran into them, actually. I used to work with Southwest Airlines out there in Nashville and checked them in right after they were recording that album in 98 or 99, excuse me. I believe it was Risk. After they just got through recording Risk in Nashville, and they were headed back to Phoenix. And so I was working that flight that day and actually got to check them in. So that was
Wow.
pretty cool. And that was the first time I met him. And then I parlayed that into a jam session with Marty Friedman here in Scottsdale once I reconnected him at the Scottsdale Air Park at the post office up there. So
All
you
right.
never know, man. You never know.
Well, how was that thing with Marty Friedman? Do you want to talk about that or no?
Oh, we'll save that for another time. We'll save that for another time. Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We need to talk about Marty Friedman because he is, man, I have heard stuff and I've been listening to a lot of his stuff, and the guy is,
oh man,
I don't know why people don't know who he is. That's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
Now they did for a little bit when he was with Megadeth, but anyway, we're not talking about those guys.
Yeah, no, we're gonna cut. We got so much to cover.
Yeah.
Listen, we could go all night long here. But
okay, so
back to the story at hand.
So Red Beach, he's studio musician, like you said, session musician, student, and a lot of people might not even know what does that mean. Well, that means that if you're Barnum and Bailey Circus or blah 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 blah, you can give that guy a chart and he'll play it. That's how good Red Beach is. Red Beach can do anything, and the dudes work with Dawkins and Doug Pinnick, like we said, and he can do anything. Paul Taylor, I think we talked about him. So basically we covered these guys. It's like a super group, basically. And so I don't know. We got another song we want to talk about was
let's save the big hit for last, but let's go ahead with one that I believe this was actually the second video release. This was released before Madeline had a video. So this is headed for a heartbreak because 17 was released first, and then you had this little gem right here.
Yeah. Oh man, I love the keyboards on it.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Love it.
Definitely a ballad for sure.
Yes. Well, I was telling Sharon, I go, hey, my wife, Sharon. I said, if you ever play this song for me, I know I'm out the door, man.
No kidding, right?
That's a great song, man. Great song.
But it's a cruncher too, man. It's a ballad, but it rocks too. Yeah. Fantastic solo too. Rod Morgenstein, left-handed drummer.
Yes. Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's great to see some of these older videos too, isn't it?
Oh man, this is good stuff. And for the ladies out there, he's not hard to look at. You know what I mean? All those.
Oh no, good-looking dude for sure.
Yeah.
But just absolutely so talented, man. And this is absolutely just scratching the surface of the Winger catalog. Once you get into some of even the recent stuff, it's just still unbelievable. And that's 25, almost 30 years later than when this stuff came out.
Now let me tell you something, man. When you start getting into the solo on this song, you're a musician, James.
I'm about to grab my drumsticks here, man.
I know you are.
It's killing me right now.
Here's the thing about this song. Here's the thing.
Right here.
Yeah, the solo and now the bass, okay. Here's the thing, man. Spacing is everything on this song. So in other words, the dude can play a solo, but he's not really shredding. You know what I mean? He's just kind of putting the notes where they go. And there's a lot of guys that can do that. Now, Red Beach is a seasoned studio musician. He can do that.
Oh, man. You have no idea. He is such an effortless player. And so much music happens between the notes. A lot of people think, when you think about musicians, think, oh, if he can play loud and fast, he's really good. But anybody can play loud and fast, Ray. People that can play slow and steady and with feel and melodic grace. and this band is all of those things.
And that drummer, Morgenstein, his spacing is fantastic too.
Oh yeah,
it really is, man. It's just like, you know, they do so much without doing so much. You know what I mean?
And how much Aquanet do you think they went through in this video right here, Ray?
What was that? I'm sorry.
How much Aquanet do you think they went through in this video?
Yeah,
right
they
here?
went through tons of it, man.
But that was the look. I mean, that was it back
I
then.
wish I had the hair to do that.
Oh
But-
man.
No, but yeah, the spacing on this song is fantastic, and it's like he's crying with that guitar.
Oh yeah.
It's like he's weeping a little bit. You know, it's a sad song. You know, it's emotional.
And
And
Morrissey goes over the bar here a couple of times too. That's when you play into the next measure, and you're still playing the same stanza. There's so many things going on here that you can't. A lot of the average listener won't be able to appreciate.
Right. You know what, James? This is what we're talking about, man. We want these kids to understand this, because you know what? It's one thing to be able to copy these songs. You know, I see kids. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
You know, you got to realize, Ray, this album came out 4 years after I decided that I was going to learn how to play the drums.
Oh.
After I saw the video for Jump by Van Halen and Alex Van Halen back there on that clear Ludwig set, and I said, "Oh, I have got to learn how to do that."
Okay, so were these guys an inspiration, or Alex Van Halen?
Are you kidding me? Inspiration. Rod Morgenstein was the reason why I discovered Premier drum hardware, and among other things. And then, like I say, all the licks that he plays and the different stuff. And you know, you as a musician, you are just a sum of all the things that you've heard and picked up over your playing days. That's what it comes down to.
I get that, man. I do get that. I mean, I'm kind of a guitar player.
I see the half stack back there, the JCM 900 in the background.
That was more of an investment, you know. But I got the guitar back there beneath this chair here is a little small.
Ibanez looks like, huh?
Yeah, Ibanez. That's my practice thing there.
Okay.
Well, I can't put this thing in, man. It's too loud. But
can you grab it and rip off the 17 solo for us right quick or anything? Or
well,
no?
you know what? Eventually, I'll do that on this.
That's right. Hey,
I will do that.
Right,
I will do that.
Yes, indeed.
But you know what? That's a lot of work right there. Man.
Oh, it's a lot of practice, man.
Yeah. But
that's a whole lot of practice.
So speaking of 17, maybe we should talk about that song.
I think we should. Now, why don't before we do, how about we talk about a little bit about these guys and their longevity, Ray? They were actually the first band just last week to play live again. They played out in Kentucky with Firehouse and the Bullet Boys.
Hey, man!
And I was able to find a little bit of that video. Let's see if we can let's cue some of that up right here. Yeah, let's do that. Man. Here we go. Let's check it out. There's Reb right there after his solo. Or this is towards the end of his solo. Again, this is last week in Corbin, Kentucky.
All right.
Last Friday night.
Man.
Live music is back, my friend.
Yes, I love it.
There's Kip in the middle. Here's the one that started it all.
There we go. Yes. See, I'd be in the front row, man.
Oh, yeah. I got lucky, man. I saw these guys twice at Martini Ranch over in Scottsdale.
You know what? My wife was at one of those. She was at one of those.
March 6, 2007, and I have to get you the date on the other one.
Yes, she was at one of those. And he sounds good, man. Kip sounds good.
Sounds great, doesn't it?
Yes, he does.
So just for a little compare and contrast way, we're gonna pull up the original music video for
right,
17
let's do it,
and tell you how good it still sounds.
All right.
That's last Friday night.
Man, that sounds good.
Here we go.
Pull it.
This is 88.
Oh, he looks a little different, but
A little bit.
Yeah, like a hungry wolf. Oh man, you know the only difference is the production, man.
That's right.
That's it, man.
And the little black bars along the side there, because none of this stuff was in HD back in the day, but that's okay.
Right. Hey, the production's a little different, but you know,
still rock and roll, baby.
that's right. And, okay, here's the thing about 17, man. There are so many friggin' riffs in that song.
Oh,
So,
yes.
The beginning of the song, the middle of it, after the solo, there's all these different riffs that are just killer on this song.
Oh, it's solid. It's solid.
It's just like, you know, hey, here's another thing. Backing vocals.
Oh, yeah.
Winger
Listen. How about just vocals to begin with, Ray? Let's
Yes.
talk about that really quick
Okay,
here,
let's talk
especially
about
this being our first episode. Today's music that you turn on the radio, it's nothing like this.
No.
Nothing like this. There's no more guitar solos.
Right?
There's no more vocals.
Nope.
This is talent, my friend. And I'll go to my grave telling anyone the same thing.
Exactly. And you know what? I've always said, and I'll probably say this every show. I appreciate, because I've watched stuff on YouTube with some of these kids doing guitar solos, and they copy this, they can copy this or whatever.
Right.
But here's the thing, they cannot write it. They cannot write it. Now,
That's right.
I'll challenge all you kids out there, write music like this. Write the music. And then, if you can do that, then we got some stuff going on.
Listen, you've got to have a catchy tune. You talk about a minute ago about the riffs and the catchy riffs. You've got to have that. You've got to have that hook, Ray. If you don't have the hook, nothing else matters.
Yep.
It's kind of like a receiver catching a football in the football game. If the receiver doesn't catch the ball, nothing else matters, right? Doesn't matter how good the throw was, how good the line block. If the dude drops the ball, play over.
Yep.
This right here, man, is good stuff. This song was so made fun of, not only by the critics and the real rock fans and Beavis and Butthead and all that stuff. Forget it.
Yeah, well, you know what? These guys are laughing last. I mean, it's just too
because guess
good,
what?
man.
They're still playing.
Yes. Yep. They're still playing, and they're still good. And we'll talk about some of their modern music in a minute, or the latest they got going on.
Yes, that's good stuff right there, man. That was the first song I ever heard by Winger right there, as it probably was for most people.
Man, when I heard that song and I heard him, that solo just ripped right out of the air, and I'm like, I'm like, oh my gosh, man,
Unbelievable.
It was like, it was crazy, man.
It was next level stuff. So let's talk a little bit about their current stuff. I should say current stuff. The last couple of albums that they put out have been phenomenal. The album Karma, have you heard that one? I'm sure
I've heard. Yes, I have. Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
And then Better Days Coming. That's kind of how we're going to end the show here in just a little bit. But they did a medley with a couple of a bunch of all-star musicians, Chips Enough, Alice Cooper, a couple of other guys as well. And they just continue, Ray, to put out good music. Again, that song that we just played for you was released in August of 1988.
Wow. Now here's the thing. I was just reading some stuff today. According to, now, unless this article is wrong, I don't know. They got something coming out here in May. So we'll see. We will. We will see. I don't know the name of it. I don't know what's going on with it, but hopefully they got something coming out in May. But what I would suggest is to people is to listen to this stuff. It's good stuff, and you will totally enjoy. I mean, it's just great music. And
Right.
you kids out there that are trying to copy this, and yeah, it's cool to copy it, you know, and do it, copy it. But write your own music, you know, based on what you're hearing. This is music that's it's been around for 20 friggin' years.
You know,
plus.
One thing I've always said, and it's so true, great music is timeless. I was driving to Walmart this morning, and I'm not even a huge Beatles fan, but a Beatles song came on that I enjoy, and it's catchy, and I go right to the volume knob and I turned it up. That came out before I was even on planet Earth, Ray.
Yeah.
It came out in the 60s. I wasn't even around yet. I wasn't even thought of. I'm still grabbing the volume knob when I hear the song and saying, oh, give me a little bit more of that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you kids out there that are you know, and some of you guys are listeners, if you want to teach your kids guitar and all that stuff, or drums or bass or keyboard, I mean, you can show them whatever, but you're not going to get the basics from, I don't want to name names from these other bands that are rap artists or whatever. You got to go back to what is
right.
What will last.
Right.
And you know, the 60s music lasts. I mean, they still play the Beatles. Everyone knows who the Beatles are.
That's right.
Everyone knows who Motley Crue is.
Oh, we'll be touching on that as well. That's one of my top 5 bands right there for sure.
But everyone does not know who Eddie and the Cruisers are.
And you know what else?
So what
everyone doesn't know who Winger is.
Right. And so you want, and that's what we're trying to do is to,
and even the people that do know who Winger is, that maybe all they got to hear was 17, and they're soft, they're not very good. There's so much to discover.
Hey, let me tell you, that's their first album. You guys don't even know what's coming down the pike with Winger.
Right.
They got Down Incognito, which is one of my favorite songs.
Oh, yeah. That album. Listen, I felt, honestly, I felt stupid for not discovering that album. That album's called Pull. And I didn't, that album came out in 1993, and I honestly didn't discover it until 2007.
Exactly. So what we're trying to do is, now they got so many good songs, you wouldn't even believe it. We're just talking about this one right now.
We're just scratching the surface.
We're scratching the surface of Winger, and we'll come back to the Winger, you know, in a couple other shows later on down the road.
Yes, we will. What we'll do, Ray, is we'll go over some of their newer material, and then hopefully we'll be able to get one of those guys on here with us, either Kip or Reb or Rod or even John, and talk about, you know, the making of this music and maybe how it's different then, obviously, than it is now, and things weren't all digital back then. They had to, everything was analog, and now tracking is, you know, Kip sits at home in his house in Nashville and tracks. He's recorded most of the new album right there at the house. Right. So it's a different world.
Right. Exactly. And so just a heads up for you guys. Oops. Sorry guys, I disappeared there for a second. Just to let you know, go to wingertheband.com and you can see everything they're doing.
Yes.
They're touring. Now, James just mentioned they were in Kentucky last week. And, you know, everything's kind of, you know, a little bit less right now because of the virus and all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll pull that up a little bit here.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of them doing, that's Surrender right there.
Yeah, I love that song.
That's good stuff right there, Ray.
Yeah.
Sounds great, too, doesn't it?
It's got a good groove to it.
Oh, yeah.
Just like... Dude, Kip Winger's voice is so...
Again, this was last Friday night, my friend.
Okay, guys.
9 days ago.
So, you know, they're playing. Go see them. Support them. Buy the merch, whatever.
That's it.
We'll do it. Wingertheband.com.
Wingertheband.com.
Yeah.
We're going to close the inaugural episode here of the Rockin' Rewind podcast with that Better Days Coming All-Star Jam. Let's kick that off here, Ray.
Oh,
that is going to be some good stuff right
Listen
here.
to this, guys. This is great. Look at this red beach right there with his daughter in the background. Oh, this is fantastic. Yeah. One of my favorite songs.
Yeah, this is a good one right here. As you see Kip right there on the bottom left corner at the house in Nashville.
Yep. Chips Enough was in there.
Uh-huh. Looks like Rod's at the house as well.
Yep.
Chips Enough, bottom left.
Yep.
I have not even seen this entire thing yet. So
I don't know all these guys, but we'll figure it out.
Jeff's got Toto.
Yep. I don't know who that is. He's a producer. It's just such good music.
Right now.
Hey, Alice Cooper.
That's good stuff right there, isn't it?
Yeah, dude. Hey, Scorpions.
Klaus Meine from the Scorpions.
Yep.
There's Robert Mason, top left, currently warrant
Kotzen,
vocalist.
Man. Hey, dude, Richie Kotzen, man.
That's right.
That guy's awesome. It's such a good
and this is a great song to end with here, Ray. With everything that's been going on in the last year or so.
That's right, man. Better days.
This is the song everybody should be jamming right now, honestly.
Yep. Well, all right, guys. Make sure you listen to this song. Check everything out they do. Wingertheband.com. And next time we get with you in a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about King's X.
King's X. Now that's a band, man, that is from southeastern portion of Texas, and there's Eddie Trunk right there in the middle on that one. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yep.
Whoa,
yeah.
It goes around now.
It makes you want to sing, right?
It does, man. If you can't just jam out to this.
Yeah. Love it.
We're up at the house in Pennsylvania. Everybody's in their different spots. Unbelievable. That's right. That was Richie Kotzen.
Yeah. Hey, man. Well, we'll talk about him later.
Oh, definitely.
He's got some good stuff going on. Oh, look at that Kip Winger, man. Slap that bass.
Hey, there's the singer from Cheap Trick there on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
There's Richie right there, baby. Good stuff.
Yeah, dude.
First of all, we appreciate you tuning in here and checking out our first go with this Rockin' Rewind podcast, taking a look at the debut from Winger.
Yes.
Fantastic stuff right there. Tell you what.
All right, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Next week, we got King's X. We're going to talk about faith, hope, and love, right?
That's exactly right. We'll touch on that. That's not technically their debut album, but that was really the first one that broke them onto the scene and got them popular with It's Love and a couple other great tracks off of that one. So we'll take a look at a couple of those next time here. And we appreciate you tuning in. Ray, this was a fun one.
Yes, it was. Let's do it again in a couple weeks, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Make sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a follow on Twitter at Rockin' Rewind Podcast. And we will talk to you again very soon.
All right, guys. See you in a couple weeks.